What's up, guys? Back for another Facebook group Rant Fridays. Let's recap how this is going to go. You should know the formula by now. I go inside Amazon seller Facebook groups. I offer commentary in 5 different parts. Part 1, I go in a crazed rant. Part 2, I stir up unnecessary drama. I say things I shouldn't say. Part 3, I give you specific, tactical, actionable Amazon selling advice you can go make money with. Part 4, I do buy or pass. I show you a book on a scanning app that I find in a Facebook group. I tell you what I buy it or pass on it based on the data I see in the scanning app. In part 5, I give you life lessons disguised as Amazon lessons. I get a little bit deep, a little bit philosophical. Let's get into it. Michael says, people who want to be TikTok and YouTube famous make videos telling people to find whatever the lowest price is and price their book a penny less. All right, you guys, this penny underpricing scourge has been an issue since as long as I've been selling. So this is not new. Short-sighted sellers underpricing all their competitors, sometimes multiple times a day, by a penny. I don't care if it's a penny or 5 cents or 10 cents, it doesn't matter. The point is they're underpricing their competitors. When it is such a fool's game that nobody wins. You are not increasing the likelihood your book is going to sell by underpricing by a penny. It's completely meaningless. It does not a factor in the buy box because the buy box doesn't always go to the lowest price. It doesn't matter there. Your buyers don't necessarily care about a penny, and you just create a race to the bottom. It is utter insanity. I have a video and an article that's simply titled Penny Underpricers Are Evil. And I got a bunch of flags. People are like, well, that's really like hyperbole. You shouldn't call that evil. I'm not going to say it isn't evil. It's kind of a clickbait title. But these sellers are a scourge. So we have to start calling this out. Like, I don't know what's left to do besides public shaming. And of course, all the actual penny underpricers jump in the comments and they're like, this is my God-given right to underprice people by penny. Don't tell me how to price. And it's like, you're tanking the price for everybody. You create a terrible selling environment for everybody. Nobody wins. You don't even serve yourself. Because now I have to come along and underprice you by a penny, and then you have to underprice me by a penny, and we're just leapfrogging all the way to $0 book status. It's just complete insanity. It doesn't serve anyone, and it's got to stop. So this is my battle cry. If you see someone advocating dropping prices by a penny, underpricing other sellers by a penny, let's just start shaming these people. I don't know what else to do. Let's just start publicly shaming them. I did my part. I made a video. I made an article. If you see a TikTok video, comment below it. If you see a YouTube video, comment below it. These are not real sellers. If they were actual real sellers, they would know this doesn't help at all. It doesn't help anybody. I suspect that people that advocate this aren't even real sellers. I've had people cancel their subscription with my repricing tool, NeuroPrice, because in the tutorials, I say, hey, don't underprice other sellers. It's pointless, which is a little bit of an overstep if you're like a software tool and an Amazon repricer. You don't want your Amazon repricer telling you how to reprice. You just want your repricer to shut up and do its job, right? I get it, but I couldn't hold myself back. And I've had people cancel because I'm like editorializing in the training videos for NeuroPrice. So I put my money where my mouth is here. I'm willing to burn bridges over this. We got to start shaming these people. Penny underpricers are a scourge. Okay, I could do the right thing here and make this a rant that has some redeeming social value, but I'm just going to turn this into drama because this is just exhausting. This has got to stop. So this person says, I'm stumped. By the way, they're a top contributor, which means they post a lot, which means they should know what they're talking about. The person says, I'm stumped. I'm prepping my first box of DVDs. These are 3 picks from Accelerist, Keepa, and Scoutly. Only Keepa is saying this DVD is worthless. Am I missing something? It's like already I'm like, this person is using the Facebook group as a substitute for just applying a few seconds of thought and doing just a minimal amount of work. In other words, they're taking something that they could, in a question they can answer in a few seconds and kind of making it the Facebook group's problem. So that's really crazy. And that happens so much in these Facebook groups. But let's figure out what this person's talking about. So they got a post from, what do they say? I already forgot. Is this Seller Amp or what is this? Okay, Accelerist, Keepa, and Scoutly. So I've never used Accelerist, but I'm assuming this is Accelerist, and this is obviously Keepa, okay, and this is Scoutly. So this person's getting 3 different profit calculations, apparently. Okay, so there's only 2 variables when it comes to a profit calculation. This is a very simple question to answer. It's the cost of goods, what are you paying for the item, and then what price is being used as the basis for the profit calculation. That's it. The fees are going to be the same. Unless one of these apps like completely screws up fees. Fees are going to be the same. Fees are the fees. So cost of goods, right? So if I'm this person, I want to solve this in 3 seconds without making this anyone else's problem. I just go is the cost of goods the same across all three apps? In other words, does it think I'm paying the same amount in all three places? Okay, number one. Number two, what price is it using as the basis for its profit calculation? Is it using lowest merchant fulfilled, lowest FBA? It's probably gonna be one of those two, or buy box, I guess, would be those three. It's gonna be one of those three. Really, really simple, right? So I don't think this person didn't even did that. They're just sort of making this the group's problem. And it's a little bit frustrating because I have doubts as to whether this person could ever be successful when, you know, their impulse is when they run into something that's really not that hard of a question to answer, and they immediately run for help instead of taking the initiative to solve it for themselves. So the other question I have is, maybe I'm completely insane. I fully admit that Keepa has 1,000 features, and I probably only understand 995 of them. But I'm trying to figure out, does Keepa have a profit calculation feature? If it does, I don't know. I've never used it. Like I said, I use Scoutly, and that's what I rely on. I just look at Keepa for pricing history and sales rank history. So I'm not sure this person's even correct that Keepa is even telling them how much something is worth after fees. So I think they're wrong there. So now we're down to Accelerist and Scoutly, and this should be pretty easy to solve. Cost of goods, make sure it's the same across both. What price is it comparing it to? What price is the basis that it's using for its profit calculation? What does it assume your selling price is? And that's it. Really, really straightforward. There's no other variables. It's kind of fascinating to think about what this person had to go through in order, like how many things they had to avoid doing just to get to the point where they post in this Facebook group. Like they had to not really think about it. They had to not be willing to do their own math. They had to not be willing to look at their own settings in Accelerist or Scoutly. They had to then just decide they're going to scrap all of that, and they're going to take all these screenshots and they're going to post them in the Facebook group and let someone else tell them how to solve their own problem. So yeah, this is just pure drama. There's really no lesson here, except you really don't want to be this person. You want to take initiative to answer your own questions, solve your own problems. I can guarantee this person said this is their first box of DVDs. I don't know if it's their first shipment ever, but apparently they're pretty early on in their Amazon selling journey. And honestly, if they're going to run to a speed bump like this where they don't understand certain numbers and they'll take a second to figure it out, they're not willing to take a second to figure it out. Honestly, they may as well just drop out now, because this is the least of your problems. I mean, the amount of hurdles you come across as an Amazon seller, especially in the early days, it just comes at you rapid fire, and you got to be solving problem after problem after problem after problem. You know, you got a source that dries up. There's just so many problems to solve. And so to not take a second to do some rough math and kind of figure out why numbers are why there's some differential in numbers, profit estimates between two apps, is it doesn't bode well for this person. So I would encourage you, don't be this guy. Take initiative. Try to answer your own questions. And I guess the big lesson here is nobody's going to save you. When it comes to being an entrepreneur, nobody is going to save you. You only have yourself. Okay, so great example of my book bundling trick. I did a video about this. Randomly, it was like the most views I've got for any video I made so far. And so this is an example of exactly that. And I'm not saying I invented this trick or anything, but this is something I just call the eBay book, whatever I call it, book bundling trick. And so this basically the trick is basically you can get more for books on eBay than Amazon if you bundle them by subject, by author, any way you can sort of bundle a book set, a book collection, and niche it down as much as possible. You can very often get more for those books on eBay than you can on Amazon. People are basically paying you to curate a collection for them around a really narrow subject, author, etc. So this person, it's not entirely clear, but there's a Quantum Leap. So that was a 90s show. I do remember watching that. And they have a collection of Quantum Leap books. And it's not entirely clear, but it looks like they sold it for $450. It says $450 or best offer, so maybe they got a better offer, like an offer that's lower. But in any case, they sold it for I'm assuming somewhere in range of $450, if not $450. Which again, classic example of how powerful this trick is. You can watch my video on that. It's called The Trick to Selling Books for More on eBay Than Amazon, I think is the title. And yeah, this person collected a random, not really random, but like a set of books around a particular TV show, bundled them, $450. I'm going to guess you could not have done this on Amazon. I'm going to guess the product page for this set doesn't even exist on Amazon. So really powerful trick. And now you don't have to take my word for it because we have an example right here. Okay, here's an interesting one. This person said, I found this book, $90 in potential profit, but I think I'm going to have to pass based on the amount of wear. What do you guys think? Now, I'm on the extreme liberal end of this. I will sell books that are destroyed. And my feedback score, I think, backs up that I don't do anything inappropriate grading-wise. So I think sellers are generally too cautious when it comes to grading. And again, I'm not talking about like deceiving anyone. I'm just saying most people interpret, good, acceptable, too conservatively, in my opinion. So let's look at this book, and I'll tell you what I would do. So you can see the wear here is pretty substantial, but it's just in the corner. It seems to be limited to the corner. Let me see if I can scroll down. Yeah, that's all we can see there. So all we can see is the corner, and the next one, you can see another corner. I don't see anything about this that in any way makes me even hesitate to list this book for sale. I would say definitely acceptable condition for sure. I would mention, heavy wear to corner, but no, I don't see anything here that would cause me to pass on this book. And I kind of love it. There's sellers like this because they leave books like this behind. And I think this in my, based on, it's kind of hard to read the room sometimes, but I feel like most sellers are way too conservative with this, like to an extreme degree. Like I think the majority of sellers would pass on a book like this out of concern for their feedback score. But I think it's misguided. And I think, again, acceptable condition is the worst condition on Amazon. I think buyers understand. They're not stupid. Yeah, there's some buyers out there that just don't understand and they will leave frivolous feedback. But again, that's more than offset by the positive feedback you get. So I would not hesitate to list this book for sale, and I would encourage you to do the same. Unless you source where I source, in which case, by all means, be as conservative as you can possibly be. I'll be there to pick up your crumbs and cash in. Little life lesson here, and the lesson is this. The people who opinionate the most are usually the ones who know the least. The people who editorialize the most are usually the ones who have practiced what they're talking about the least. Now, it's probably a little ironic that I'm sitting here saying this as somebody who's literally making a video that's full of editorials and rants and opinions. But I can back up what I say, but there's a lot of people in these Facebook groups, they do more damage than good. In my last video, Amazon Forum Fridays, I made a comment that, hey, if you really want to educate yourself, spend 3 days in an Amazon Forum, read everything. And then I caught myself and I was like, wait a minute. You'd actually be further back than if you knew nothing at all, because it's so much contradictory information and so much just outright bad information, like literal misinformation. So this just made me think of that. This is an example of this. Keep in mind the people that comment on Facebook groups I don't want to say, it's like there's lots of good people. I know some of them, and they're frequent commenters. And you shouldn't be suspected of being one type of person or another just because you comment a lot in Facebook groups. So I'm not exactly saying that, but I will say that Facebook group comments and YouTube comments are even worse example. They're biased towards attracting a certain kinds of person. Doesn't mean only a certain type of person comments on Facebook groups, but it biases towards a certain type of person. And that type of person is somebody who has a lot to say and is kind of maybe can't always back it up with real world experience. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. This person says, can someone take a look at this with Keepa and see when it was last sold? Okay, now we're getting to a whole other rant, which I'm not going to do. But why would you post a screenshot asking someone to go look at Keepa? Why don't you just go look at Keepa yourself? So I'm a little confused by this, but that's not the point of this. So let's look at the comments here. This person says, Keepa is not pulling that data, or it would show in Scoutly, but it's not looking great. Well, first of all, you can turn the Keepa charts off, so we don't really know anything from the screenshot whether Keepa has data about this book or not. But this person said it's not looking great based on those fulfilled by merchant prices. I'm like, what are you talking about? First of all, I'm assuming this person's an FBA seller. If they aren't a merchant fulfilled seller, then yes, this is not good. But without knowing, to say this is not good based on the merchant fulfilled price, we don't know if they're an FBA seller. So I think what this person's saying is they think this book cannot be sold at a higher price via FBA. In other words, you see this $99.95 price. They're saying, forget that. You've got to match the merchant fulfilled price. It seemed to be what they're indicating, which again is in my opinion crazy talk. The rank's 525,000. We don't know the average rank. This person doesn't have that feature turned on, unfortunately. And the sales score is not, scale score is imperfect, so we can't really necessarily assume anything because it's blank. The sales rank indicator has been selling. I would price this at $99.95. If all I had was a dad on the screen, I would price this at $99.95 as an FBA seller. I would just match the lowest FBA price. That's not unrealistic. But again, the point of this rant / life lesson is the people in the comments think otherwise. Somebody else says, if you can buy it for $6, it's probably not going to sell for much more FBA. Based on what? What are we basing this on? And this person is this person's a top contributor. This is demonstrably false information. In other words, to suggest that you can't take a book with a rank of 500,000 and sell it for $99.95, or even this person said that you can't sell it for, quote, much more than $6. That is the opinion of somebody that's never sold a single thing on Amazon. Now, I don't know this person. I'm assuming they have sold on Amazon. I can't imagine how they could have an opinion that is that off base. It's just that flat out wrong. But again, they're a top contributor, meaning they comment a lot. So the lesson in this is you have to be really, really careful. I mean, if anything, I would choose a Facebook comment as the basis for what not to do. I would take an opinion expressed in a Facebook comment as a basis of what I should do the opposite of. That would be more of a winning bet than to just blindly follow what people in Facebook groups say, because this person is 100% false. And there's not a lot of things where I would say, like, there's not two sides. Like, there's not two sides. This person is wrong. They are so wrong, it's criminal to be expressing this opinion. Because this person's new, this seller who made this post, and now they're going to get possibly steered in a direction that will ruin their Amazon selling career. To suggest that a book with a rank of 500,000 cannot be priced higher as an FBA seller, it's criminal in the sense that, I mean, you can say whatever you want, but it's criminal in the sense that you are potentially ruining someone's Amazon selling career. Not to mention anyone else that might read this comment. So the point of this life lesson is that people that talk the most usually know the least. All right, guys, we covered a lot of ground. You now have a 3-part mission. Are you ready? Mission number 1, subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can build a whole business off of what I give away for free. Do it right now. Number 2, get all my free stuff. Hit the link below this video. Go to FBAmastery.com. Get free reports, free web classes, no strings attached. Free means free. Hit the link below this video right now. And mission number 3, take what you learned in this video and go make money with it. This is Peter Valley signing off. See you in the next video.